Hello everyone. I am over the moon today because I have one of the pioneer in with me, Maxim. Maxim is highly accomplished machine learning scientist holding a PhD from the Polytechnic Institute of Paris. Since 2019, he has been deeply involved in the exploration and application of LLMs and graph neural networks across various domains, including research and development, industry, finance, and academia. Maxim is renowned for his contribution to the field, having created several popular LLMs such as Alpha Monarch, Beyonder, Phixtral, and Neural Beagle. And you know, as a viewer of my channel, that I already have covered all of them, and courtesy to Maxim here. And he has also released a lot of great tools, which I also have covered, like LLM AutoEval, LazyMergekit, LazyXolotl, and AutoGGUF. He has also authored a widely acclaimed LLM course on GitHub, having over 27,000 stars, and that is growing every day. And he regularly shares his expertise through technical articles on his blog, which I would highly recommend, and also on a lot of forums, including X and LinkedIn. Additionally, Maxim is the author of the technical book Hands-on Graph Neural Network using Python, published with PECT. Maxim, thank you so much for being with us. It's a real honor and pleasure. I still cannot believe that I have you on my channel. I'm so glad. Can you share with us your journey into the field of machine learning and what sparked your interest in LLMs and graph neural networks?
Yeah, thank you for this introduction. Hi, Fan. Hi, everyone. Yeah, machine learning, yes, and LLMs. I think I've started doing my PhD to be interested in that because I was working with network protocols. The idea was applying machine learning to cybersecurity to detect cyber attacks in crypto networks. And to do that, my idea was I want to learn the network protocols. So when they deviate from what expected, then we can say, oh, there's something weird happening in the network. So that was the basic idea. And back then I used RNNs, LSTMs, BiLSTMs, that kind of stuff. It was pretty good to model language. But then the transformer architecture was released, and BERT in 2018 was released, and that's when I got like a little interested in that, like how can I apply it to my field. Um, and that's what I did mostly after my PhD. And yeah, it was pretty successful to apply these architectures about GPT-2 to this network protocol understanding field.
Awesome. And you have created many popular LLMs on Hugging Face, such as Alpha Monarch, Beyonder, Fixtral, and many others, and you keep going. What is the process of developing them?
Um, it's a good question. I think it's a bit different. It depends on the model because, for example, like this mixture of experts, like beyond like the last model I released is really like taking the same idea, but this time selecting better models because the version 2 was released a few months ago, so it's easy to just take like better models, test it, make sure that everything works, and then release it. So that's what I did. But for the 7B models like Neural Beagle and Alpha Monarch, it's a lot of merges. And I think that when I started, mostly in December 2023, it was quite easy to just pick two models that were on top of the OpenLLM leaderboard, and you got like a better model. Um, Nowadays it's a lot harder because a lot of people are doing that. So there's a lot of competition, there are diminishing returns, and that's why I chose to create like this auto merger tool that automates this process of like choosing the best LLMs and merging them. And I think it's quite interesting. I don't know if it's gonna really like produce a lot of high quality LLMs, but I think it can help us to understand how to select them and what are the best recipes to make the best LLMs.
Awesome. You mentioned one of the tools. So you also have developed all of these tools, which I mentioned in the intro, and all of them are really very useful. So how do you decide which tool to make? Do you see a gap in the industry or is it just a hobby? How do you proceed with it?
Yeah, it's actually like I do them for myself because like as the name suggests, I'm quite lazy, so I don't want to type commands, and if I can just like click on one thing instead, I'm very happy. I think it really removes the frictions that you have in your pipeline. So it allows you to be a lot more efficient in the long run. So yeah, like bit by bit, I created my own pipeline with like the merging. But then like the question is like, is my model any good? Of course, you can do vibe testing, but that's not like really scalable. So I wanted to create like an evaluation thing. So it became like LLM AutoEval. And then you have a lot of fine tuning. So it became like LazyZxolotl. And like, yeah, bit by bit, it's growing. The ecosystem is growing.
Makes sense. And I know that whatever you create becomes like a kit. It is hard to pick and choose. But if you were to choose, which one is your favorite tool which you have created?
It's a good question. I think it's um, maybe the auto eval, but I'm not too satisfied with the current state, so I'm working on it at the moment to make it better, make sure that everything works properly, and add more benchmarks because some of them have been added to the LM evaluation harness. And that's really cool because now we can have EQ bench, for example, so yeah, currently working on that. Also had like a excellent PR that added light eval to the tool. So now you have like access to every data set in light eval, and there's like most of them are there. So that's really really cool.
Awesome. And one of your salient thing out there on social media is your GitHub course. And that course has gained significant traction with over 27,000 stars, I guess, maybe more. What motivated you to create this course and what key concepts do you aim to convey to your audience?
Yeah, so I had some questions from colleagues about how to get into LLMs last year, like at the beginning of the year, because they could see that with ChatGPT, the entire field was taking off. And I started like creating resources for them to send them, and I decided like, yeah, why not making an entire repo about that. That's what I wanted to do with graph neural networks, to be honest, but I was too lazy to do it. And then for LLMs, I was like, no, this time I need to do it. And there was like a first version. It was not very focused, so I revamped it into three separate roadmaps, and like this is the version that really took off because I think it's more focused on the LLM aspect and less about like machine learning or deep learning in general.
Absolutely. So, in addition to your online presence, of course, on that GitHub, on X, on LinkedIn, you have somehow also got the time to author a technical book on GNN, the graph neural networks. Could you provide an overview what that book is about and its intended audience?
Oh yeah, with pleasure, of course. So the book is about like this architecture, graph neural networks, and this is an architecture that I got interested in after my first experiments with LLMs because GNNs are um, probably the most elegant architecture. It's very general, it's very broad. Like if you're really into deep learning in the theoretical side of it, it's really nice because you can say like, oh yeah, the transformer architecture is just a GNN with this specific configuration, and you can do that with pretty much everything. So that's really nice. And they're also super useful because we have graphs everywhere, and the graph neural network is like a neural network designed to take graphs as input and can do pretty much anything with it. It can do classification, can do regression, can do like all the classic task you want to do with deep learning on that. And I think it's really successful architecture. Like, we don't hear about it as much as LLMs, but it has been applied at scale in many projects, and it's really helping the science in general in many ways. So I think it's a really exciting field, and there's a lot of connections with LLMs. So if you're interested, this book is designed for like beginners. It's really easy to pick up. If you read my articles, it's like the same idea, like a bit longer with more examples, but it's very hands-on and technical.
Awesome. And I will drop the link to your website in video's description. So that has your book link, also your course link. So if anyone is interested, they should visit that website, and I would highly recommend it. I almost visit your website almost every other day just to go back and learn a lot. So thank you for that. Really much appreciated. I'm based
Thank you.
in here in Sydney, Australia, and I presume you are based in London at the moment, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So one of the things which I'm sure would be um, also prevalent in London, because in Sydney there's a huge anxiety among the people about the impending job loss due to AI. Now I have two questions in that. The first one, do you think that there will be a loss due to the AI, and what should people do about it?
Yeah, so it's a bit outside of my expertise, and I want to preface it like that, like take it with a grain of salt, because
Yeah.
I make LLMs, but I don't reason about really politics. But I think that these tools, they can improve the productivity. And so you have two ways of seeing it. One is, great, now I can be like twice as efficient, 10 times more efficient in my daily job. But if you are, I don't know, like a shareholder, and you have to take decision, it means that, yeah, you can probably do as much with fewer people. So I guess it depends how you see it. And I hope that we will find a good way of redistributing the wealth that is produced through these productivity gains, because otherwise, yeah, like we're gonna have like a societal problem with
Yeah.
AI. And I think that a lot of people, as you mentioned, see it coming. And it's a really political question now about like, what do we do with this tool. But at the same time, I don't want to be too like, I'm not extremely worried at the moment, because as much as I like LLMs and the applications, it's still rough. It's still like we're not like AGI level at all. We're just trying to like make things work at the moment. So it's an important question to ask now, because we're not at the moment where we actually currently find a lot of people. Or I guess we're not at the
Yeah.
moment,
True.
but yeah, there's still like a lot of progress to be made in this area.
Agreed. Yeah. And can I ask that, can we hold off on AGI until I pay my mortgage? And then you guys can take away my job. So, look, just hypothetically, or not hypothetically, let's suppose there is a 40-year-old Java developer or Python developer who earns his or her living by developing code. Now, that 40-year-old developer can see that stable code or even chat gpt or all these coding model llama code, they can generate as good a code as he or she can, or even better. Now that 40-year-old doesn't have the energy, time, money, resources to do the phd in machine learning or ai in phd in ai. What should that person do to become ai enabled, ai powered, so that he would stay relevant in the industry?
Yeah, so it's not my profile, so I can only make educated
Yeah.
guesses. But I think that I've worked a lot in this field, actually, in code LLMs. This is not something that I really released online, but yeah, I worked a lot on in this field. And I can say that we're not there yet. Copilot, Codium, and like a lot of other companies, they offer these tools, these code completion tools, and they're really interesting. I think that code completion is extremely exciting. I use it every day, and I cannot code without it anymore. It's over for me. I can't do basic stuff anymore. Like I'm really assisted with these tools, and I think that's great. I think that's great because I can really see that it makes me a better developer, and it really increases my productivity. And I think that's the best way of seeing it. It's to try to use these tools and make the best out of it. But if you look at outside beyond code completion, like really code generation, like really, I want to create an entire project. We saw these demos with like AutoGPT, Baby AGI last year. It doesn't work. It
Yeah,
doesn't work. We're not there yet. Like I read papers about it. There's like these people are working on it, but I think that really we're not there yet, especially with models with 3 billion parameters. Impossible. They cannot do it. And as much as I like small language models, I don't think they'll be able to do it at the end of the year either. So it's really GPT-5 level of model. This is the class of model that could
yeah.
do it, and we don't have it at the moment. So it's difficult to foresee what will happen if it could do that. But really, it's really complex. Like code completion is quite easy, but like code generation from scratch, extremely complex task.
Makes sense. Just today, you tweeted and also released a notebook about the new model Gemma, which is a blend of state space and transformer. What are your thoughts on it?
Um, I think this is probably one of the most exciting things happening on the theoretical sides of the large language model field, because we know that the transformer architecture is great. It's wonderful architecture. It's so good that it's everywhere now. But there are some limitations with this architecture, namely the uh, context window, for example, although like we got some hacks, but like the bigger the context window, the more VRAM, because the vanilla attention mechanism scales quadratically. So of course it explodes. That's a problem. So with flash attention, with a bunch of like sliding window attention, this kind of stuff, but it's still not there yet. And that's pretty clear if you try to use it like with I don't know, like 1 million tokens in the context window. Sorry, it's not great. Like it doesn't work that well. But this is one thing, and then you have like a bunch of other things. For example, the scaling laws. It's really uh, big issue because yes, we know that we can train these models on more tokens and they're going to get better. The problem is that it costs a lot of money and you have like extremely diminishing returns because it's really a power law. What's good about these state space models is that they blend these scaling laws. They are really good with long context windows because they have two modes. They have the convolutional neural network mode that you want to use when you train them because it's very efficient to train a CNN basically. And you have the recurrent neural network mode, which is great when you want to deal with long context windows and you want to perform fast inference. That's why this architecture is really exciting because it's really great at solving these issues with the transformer architecture. And I've been really excited about this hybrid architecture, and I'm really glad that we finally see the first one at scale because it looks like it could solve the issues with the transform architecture, but it can also solve the issues with Mamba architecture, we know that it's not great at recall-based task because it doesn't have the KV cache that the transformer architecture has. So it's not that great at remembering stuff in the context window, which is an issue because you have like this massive context window and it doesn't work so well with it. So maybe by combining these two architectures, we can get a really, really efficient model. The model that has been released at the time of this recording is just pre-trained, but it's going to be really interesting to see like, okay, it's pre-trained and we get to this level and it's almost like Mixtral-like. So I don't know how to interpret these results, but it looks really good. I want to see if like supervised fine-tuning can offer the same kind of performance boost that we have with the transformer architecture, because if this is the case, then we'll see like Noose Hermes, Dolphin, Jamba, and these models can be really, really interesting. Right now, it's still quite experimental. I This is great. This is great, but this is still research. We don't have like 6, 7 years now of optimization like we do with
Yeah,
the transformer architecture. So we still need to be patient, but I think this is a really, really fascinating field.
very insightful. Thanks. Outside of your technical pursuits, what are some of your hobbies or interests that you enjoy in your free time?
Yeah, I read a lot. I read a lot of books and other things. I also play a lot of video games with my friends. I don't know, just like going out, museums, that kind of stuff. Don't, but yeah, like writing articles and making models is consuming a lot of time. So, but I still manage to have a social life. It's okay.
That is good. Any book you would recommend other than, which is non-technical?
Netflix just released like the Three-Body Problem series. I'm really a fan of the books. I think they're really poorly written, but they have like so many insane ideas that are, I don't know, they're so crazy that at the beginning you say like, oh, it's so dumb, but then you think about it, it's like actually really, really good. I don't think that the adaptation is that good. It's like a bit average. So I would recommend the books, especially if you're interested in the series, because the books they really have like this
Yeah.
wonderful ideas in sci-fi. And I think that this is the best of sci-fi. It's not really about the characters. It's not really about the writing style. It's about like the grand ideas that you find in these books, and it has like a ton of them. Three-Body Problem, great book.
And lastly, what are your goals for the future, professionally and personally?
Yeah, I don't really have clear goals, to be honest with you. Just enjoying the ride, contributing to the LLM ecosystem. I'm really happy that the open source community is doing well, and I would really like to see like GPT-4 class models in the open source, and contribute to this SSM field too, and see like what we can do with this hybrid architecture. I think that would be really exciting.
Awesome. Any advice you would like to give to the audience?
General advice, if you're interested in this field and or you want to get a job in this field with the and work with LLMs, I think that creating projects, creating models is something that is very valuable. And the idea here is not to force yourself to do it, but find something that you're maybe excited about. And yeah, I think it's really a great way of getting interested in this field, and delve deeper into the technical stuff. And these projects they can be extremely rewarding. I would recommend that. Or write articles. It's also great.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Maxim. It's been a pleasure. And again, much thanks for your time and very grateful for all the insights.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Thanks for all the questions. Thank you.